Sagittarius, welcome to your yearly 2021 Sidereal Astrology forecast. All right, so a lot going on this year. We have a lot of shifts and changes with the planets, and it will be emphasizing some key areas for you. We'll talk about which areas those are, and more importantly, how to work with these areas in a way that does lead to more balance and fulfillment in our lives. So, and again, this channel is using true sidereal astrology. So if you are new to this form of astrology, definitely check the comment section down below. There you'll find the true sidereal sun sign dates. You want to make sure you are watching this for your true sidereal sign because it is different from your mainstream sign. So check out that list, and there's also a birth chart calculator for calculating your moon sign and your ascendant sign. To watch all three. I do recommend watching all three videos, sun, moon, and ascendant, as it will give you a more personalized reading. All right, so let's take a look at Saturn and Jupiter. So they just had their conjunction in December of 2020, and now they're starting to enter into your second house, which is the area of resources. So I think 2021 is going to be a very constructive year for building your inner and outer abundance, your inner and outer resources. Inwardly, a lot of you establishing maybe more self-reliance, maybe starting to get grounded with a sense of self-worth, self-value, maybe feeling a bit of buoyancy and optimism about what you can attract in terms of abundance, and maybe starting to reintegrate with your natural gifts and natural abilities, your inner resources at this time. But externally, it could be very good for finances, very constructive time. Saturn will create some patience and long-term kind of energy that's needed for it. But Jupiter's expanding it. And so I think very constructive for income, maybe investments, resources, anything that takes that inspiration but also grounded approach to it is great throughout the year. Now, on January 10th, Mars will be leaving Pisces. This whole second half of 2020 was a very uncertain time in regards to where we're putting our action or our energy. And now it starts to become clearer from January 10th onwards. And this is Mars going into your fifth house of self-expression and of romance and of kids, if you have kids. Also your hobbies, your interests, all the things we love and we're passionate about in life and we usually have created. So this has already been the area of mixing things up. I think these past 2 years, it's been good to experiment with your self-expression, to maybe try some new different things with your hobbies and what you're interested in, what you love. But now there's a lot of fire energy coming into the year with this. But really all year, still really good to experiment with pursuing your passions and things you love in life and your self-expression. Now, January 13th, we do have a new moon. It's going to be in your first house, conjunct Pluto, which I think is really, in a sense, finalizing the energy from last year in 2020, where I think in 2020, a lot of you probably learned a lot about yourselves, probably gained a lot of sense of identity. Some of you became very grounded these past few years in regards to responsibility, sort of strength of character, as it were, patience, discipline. But last year, probably learned a lot about yourself and your needs and goals, maybe a bit of inspiration with that. So that's all sort of finalizing coming into the year. But with this new moon, it's like a nice step in the right direction where you might just feel more empowered. Feeling more empowered to be who you are, more non-attached, more freer in the sense now that Saturn has left your sign. And that just kind of gets things in motion, with the first house being about action and initiative from mid-January onwards. Then January 17th, Jupiter, your ruler, will be squaring Uranus. And this is very important because it's your ruler, but also Saturn will be squaring Uranus from February 17th all the way through December 24th. So squares are naturally a bit challenging, but it's that we want to challenge ourselves during this time. And I think in mid-February, one of the great areas of doing that with is to challenge yourself with that self-expression, right? Uranus is going to be aspecting your ruler to the fifth house. So trying new and different ways of, again, having fun, doing what you're passionate about, what you love, experimenting with your identity, getting outside your comfort zone, essentially, with having fun, with the creative process, and that can become very constructive. And then, the whole emblem of the year with the Saturn square is really about integrating what are two very different areas, the two areas we talked about. Building your resources, inner and outer, and your passions, right? What you love. And these are two very different things, right? So it can be challenging to integrate those two. So some things that can be helpful with this is some of you, it's Great year for, like I said, doing what you love, your passions, but that doesn't always reflect into material abundance. But it certainly can. And it's a year where it's really good to set intentions with doing both. Doing the fire, the passion, the love, and then also the grounding, the income, the resources, the material life. How can these two unite in your life? And I think that's a great question to ask. I think it'll be a process throughout the year, but while these two areas are emphasized, resources and passion, self-reliance and self-expression, trying to unite those two is fantastic with this square. Now, late February, but particularly early March, mid-March with the new moon, March 13th, Neptune is going to leave your third house and go into your fourth house. So leaving the third house, this is probably going to lift almost like a fog to your mind, a nebulousness. I think the past 10 years, a lot of you have been probably diving more inward when it comes to your thoughts, more of a spiritualization to your mind. Maybe some of you have learned a lot of spiritual things throughout this time. And now things start to become more clear, I think, just mentally. And also if anything's involving communications or peers or siblings when Neptune leaves. And in some sense, maybe even a dream kind of coming to fruition. All this insight you've been gaining, knowledge and information that's maybe been deeper, more spiritual, or using the imagination, finalizes. And when the fog lifts, you might see it. Everything ended up working out with communications, with the peers, with learning, with information, writing, some of you maybe. And so that's a nice culmination. And really, it will be a strong emphasis in the year, which I'll talk more about. But Neptune is going into your fourth house of home. So one of the great areas of maybe starting to follow your spiritual guidance with will be on your home life. And I think that's very important for Sagittarians anyways, because you have Pisces in your fourth house. So it's always good to have a home life that maybe is like your sanctuary, someplace you can retreat to, turn inward, and to do things that are more spiritually meaningful to you in regards to home and family. So this Neptune transit is going to help you do this. It's a much easier placement for Neptune being in Pisces, where Neptune rules Pisces. Better placement, easier placement. So nice guidance, listen to your intuition. There might be some dreams or ideals you may have about home or family, about your personal life. This will also be taking you inward in terms of feelings and the past and your roots and all this. And trusting your intuition, being guided there in the waters of life when it comes to emotions, home life, personal life, could be fantastic. So April 18th, Jupiter will come into the practical sector of learning, expanding your knowledge base, maybe starting to get inspired a bit to maybe read or write some more. So April 18th through August 29th, really good to expand your mind. A lot of you will be gaining a lot of information and knowledge, maybe about practical skills. Some of you may be feeling inspired to write. Some of you may be more social, wanting to go connect with your neighbors or your peers a little bit more. So nice buoyant energy, especially to the contrast where that's the area that Neptune left. So it's now lifting the fog, and now Jupiter comes in to expand your mind, expand your communications, and perhaps for some of you, some of that social life as well. Now, April 21st through May 11th, we do have a new moon in that fifth house of self-expression. So like I was saying, a great year for, getting outside your comfort zone with self-expression. And I think this late April through May time is a really good time of developing that. Some of you may be starting some dating, maybe, experimenting with dating. Others may be working with kids or having kids, maybe, unexpected with Uranus. It's different. It's outside the norm of things. Some of you may be experimenting with different hobbies, different interests. So the whole year is good for this, but I think especially this late April into May time, starting to develop the excitement around trying new things with what you love and the creative process of life. Now, May 26th and June 10th, we do have the eclipses. And I think it's important all year, but maybe especially May and June, to find balance in our lives. And for you, involving maybe your alone time and your work time, your day-to-day life time. Because your south node's in the 12th house, I think there will be some almost a strong emphasis in terms of maybe retreating a bit or some spiritual time, alone time. And so what'll help balance that out is to focus on maybe your routines, right? Maybe trying new things at work, maybe trying new health regimens for physical health, maybe trying new routines, all this kind of like doing energy day-to-day energy really becomes the key for our spiritual well-being. When we look at a lot of Buddhic teachings, for example, meditation comes from the everyday life. It can come from cleaning. It can come from waking up, having a routine. It comes from meditation by using that routine or that self-discipline to meditate. So really good to find this balance between linking up the spiritual life with the routine life, right? And even rest with work, right? Being with doing, because these are really two very important areas of life, and I think this year will help you find that balance. There'll also be the eclipses on November 19th and December 4th, which will help you do the same. So again, June 10th, May 30th, those eclipses, and the ones November 19th, December 4th, those eclipses will help you find that balance. But again, all year is great for that. All right, so June 14th, Saturn squares Uranus for the second time. Things probably start to get a little bit clearer in regards to how you can unite the passion and the resources, right? So that's going to be maybe creating a little bit of clarity, and I think the second half of the year can be very constructive for, again, setting that intention to implement that fire and that earth, the passion and the resources. And that's a great way of working with mid-June in particular. Now, August 29th, Jupiter will come back into your resource sector. So from August 29th to December 7th, there could certainly be some opportunities in regards to finances, resources, income, maybe again, just feeling a little bit more open-minded about what you can attract in regards to values into your life, which is great. We talked about the November 19th, December 4th eclipses, helping you find the balance between being and doing, spiritual and physical health. December 7th, Jupiter will come back into the third house of expanding your mind and maybe your social sector a little bit, taking you into 2022. So December 7th into the new year of 22, I think really good for learning, studying, writing, feeling a little bit inspired there, and maybe your communication life in terms of the social life. Something very minor is December 19th, Venus will go retrograde, and this is going to be in your first house. So from December 19th into 2022, it'll be good to kind of rethink your values in regards to who you are, what you want in life, your identity a little bit. Good to kind of go back and re-examine who you are and what you want during that retrograde. And that's going to help you kind of, really attract your goals and the things you want with Venus there. And then lastly, December 24th will be the last Saturn square Uranus. So even though I do think that going into 2022 will still be good for your resource development and your self-expression, I think that there is, in a sense, a culmination with this where you've probably found some sort of link between these two, to do what you love and also to do what's good for your material life. And so that kind of finalizes things in the year with that final contact, and just helps you establish those areas a little bit more. And it's really about values. It's about your material values and your passion values, your earth values and your fire values, and how those can be integrated. All right, so Sagittarius, have a fantastic year. Thank you so much for watching. This video does come with a 20% discount on personal readings. So of course, these videos are very general. If you do want a specific look at your unique chart, definitely check out the link down below for that 20% discount. But again, thank you so much for watching, all of your support. Have a great year, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.